Hey guys and girls, welcome to another Sunday afternoon chat on a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Oklahoma. I'm doing something a little bit different. I've got my Bible with me. Now, I want to make a disclaimer right here. I'm definitely not an ordained preacher. I am an ordained deacon in a Baptist church, but I'm definitely not a preacher. But I do have my Bible with me. This is the Bible that I take to church. I leave it in the car during the week. I read another daily Bible that I keep on my desk all the time that I read from every day. This one I use only in church. As you look through this Bible, it is written on and scribbled on everywhere, and it's got all the times when preachers preached a sermon where I was, and it's many times I've been all over the nation, and in various churches. And as I look through there, and I happen to see turn a page, and I see on there that I was in, Florida, somewhere in Florida, Clewiston, Florida that day, or wherever I was, and the name of the preacher that preached that sermon. And it really gets a lot of neat memories. But it also, as you look back and you see 15, 20 years ago, and I don't even know when I got this book, this particular Bible, I think it's probably one that my wife gave me. It looks like right here that, well, it's not been that long ago. This Bible right here is relatively new. This was presented to Jimmy Houston by Chris Houston. Christmas 2015. That's right. Only 8 years ago that I've had this book right here. So you look back there and you see sermons, and I would just wear Bibles out. I just wear them out. That's the deal. I just turn the pages in there so much I just wear them out. But I'm going to look at the Bible a little bit. I don't normally do that. Definitely not going to preach a sermon, so don't turn this thing off right now. I didn't want to mention right off the bat, we're not going to talk about the deer. Chris, we gave an update on Chris this week. If y'all didn't catch it, be sure to go back and catch that. A little heart-to-heart talk about Chris. It's been 2.5 years since Chris had that stroke. We've got deer videos on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday, 4 brand new videos every single week. So we're covering the deer a lot and some of the things we're doing at the ranch. We are going to start taking orders probably tomorrow. I got to do some last minute double checking on that and make sure, and I'll give y'all some numbers. I'll probably post that as soon as I can find that out. We'll start taking orders for pecans, so you can start ordering your pecans. Many of you have been asking about that. The trees are loaded this year, big old beautiful pecans. We've had a lousy, terrible harvest the last 2 years, but this year looks like it's going to be a good one, so we might have a little money put in the bank, but pay for everything that we do with those pecan trees throughout the year. We spent a lot of money on those trees this year, trimming, cutting all around, and many man hours out there. Apache and a man we've had hired to help. A couple guys we had hired to help. But we got the orchards looking beautiful. Still got a lot of mowing to do, and we'll be harvesting those pecans here about another, I don't know, maybe another week or 10 days, couple weeks, something like that. But we'll probably be shipping out orders maybe by the end of the month, the first part of next month. So you want to get your orders in quickly. We'll ship them out in the order that we receive them. And every year we get more pecan orders in. So we're looking forward to being able to help y'all with some really great pecans. It looks like we're going to hold the price the exact same as they were last year. Now, that'll start out. I don't know. As the market changes on these things, and as the market changes, we may have to change a little bit also. We've been fighting this shipping, this freight. That's one of the reasons you're paying so much for everything at the grocery store is, and everywhere else you buy anything, is it costs a lot to ship things. I know the price of gasoline went down a little bit this week, which is great. But it's still, around here it's about $1.50 higher than it was back when our current president took office. So we're still paying an awful lot of money for fuel. We should be paying about half of what we're paying right now, to be honest with you. We should be burning American fuel. We shouldn't be burning fuel from foreign countries. We just shouldn't be doing that here in this country. But I'm going to get off that soapbox, Oxer. I did want to mention I have an appearance this coming week. This coming Friday the 13th, I'll be in Kalispell, Montana, and I've been looking forward to this trip for a long time. My friend Luke Taylor went out there and started a church, Veneration Church, and it's just done great. I mean, the church has just grown incredibly well in just a very few short years. And I'll be out there on a big, I think they call it a flathead beast feast. I don't know if I have that name correct or not, just right off the top of my head, but I think it's a flathead beast feast. It's at the fairgrounds there in Kalispell. I don't think the church is quite large enough to hold this event, but it's in Kalispell, Montana. I'll be there Friday night, the 13th. It's going to be a wonderful event, a lot of door prizes, some fantastic music, and I'll be speaking there that evening and just having a great time meeting all of y'all. If you have our Catch of a Better Life book, be sure to bring it, and I'll be happy to sign it and autograph for you. If you want to get one, you probably don't have one to get one now if you order them from us, but maybe you can get one out there at a Hobby Lobby or a Books A Million or someplace like that. But this is kind of a little bit of a bittersweet trip because I was really looking forward to going out a day or two early and spending time, but that just didn't work out as the schedule has transpired. My daughter Sherry and her husband Jack are getting ready to go to Israel, which is not good. And Israel is one thing I want to talk about a little bit on today's Sunday afternoon chat. But I'm discouraging them for going to Israel, but they're leaving to go over there. Actually, the same day that I am, Friday the 13th, they're going over to Israel, and they've got a great trip planned over there. But that country is now at war. We are basically at war with them. So this is the second war that we've been involved with in the last couple, 2 or 3 years, and it's not good. It's not good at all. And I saw just a little while ago that they had upped the death toll to at least 700 people in Israel. And this is not counting the retaliation that happened. And this is might be a really long, bloody war, and America is involved in that war. We're sending warships there right now, and I want to talk about that just a little bit. But I will be in Kalispell, Montana. So if you're anywhere within a couple of hours of there, be sure to come over there and visit us next Friday night, Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th. It's a lucky night, not an unlucky night. Friday the 13th, Kalispell at the county fairgrounds. It's a great event out there. Free event. So you're gonna feed. You're gonna just have a wonderful time. So bring your friends, bring your whole family. Have a great time at Kalispell, Montana. Veneration Church. It's a great event. The Flathead Beast Feast. I think I've got that right. The appearance we had for the following Saturday at in Tampa has been canceled. That tournament, that event there, they've got a new pastor, I understand, is what they told me, and they've had some schedule conflicts come up, and I don't know, I guess somebody scheduled some things in the building that we were using there at that church, Brown, but that's a great church, a fantastic church here at Tampa, and then we're going to reschedule that for a later date, is what they told me. So I will not be there. So if you're planning on being there for that big men's night out on the 21st, which is the following Saturday, I won't be there. Then nobody will be there. They're not having that event. So we're not having that event there that night. But we will be in Kalispell, so plan on being there if you're up there in Montana. It's going to be a great event. I'm really looking forward to being up there. Only going to be there for that Friday and a bit Saturday, and I'm going to get back home and take care of my beautiful Chris. But anyway, that's going to be a great event. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. I just killing me that I can't spend another day or so out there and go fishing and enjoy Montana. That's just an incredible, wonderful, beautiful place. And Kalispell is one of the prettiest and most beautiful places around down there. So, but anyway, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, and we're not going to talk about deer, Chris, or anything else on this Sunday. I want to talk to you about the fact that what's happened over there in Israel is a big deal. That attack on Israel with, I guess I heard a statement, I don't know if it's right or not, but I heard a statement, thousands of rockets shot into Israel, hundreds of people killed already, many people taken hostage. We paid $1 billion apiece to have 6 hostages given back to the United States. We're tickled to death to have them back, but now many more hostages were taken. We don't know if there's Americans in there or not, but we know that they took a lot of Israeli hostages. They came into people's homes and carried them off prisoner. They killed a lot of people. It's been, what little I've seen of it on television, it's been terrible. And our preacher preached this morning, and the reason I had my Bible, he preached from the very last book. And whether you go to church or not, you probably know the very last book of the Bible is Revelation. And he preached from the very last chapter in Revelation 22. Revelation 22, that's the end of the Bible. That's where God's word ends, written word ends, right there, Revelations 22. And one of the things he talked about was this particular verse. This particular verse is Jesus talking, and Jesus talking to John, who was in prison on an island, and telling him what would happen in the last days. That's what Revelations is. The whole book of Revelations is really a book from Jesus Christ himself. And he's telling him here, and one of the things that the preacher pointed out, that 3 times in this very last chapter, Jesus said, "Behold, I am coming soon. Behold, I am coming speedily. Behold, I am coming quickly." Revelation 22:7, 12, and 20, Jesus Christ says the same thing. Behold, I am coming soon. Now, I know we've all lived for quite a while. I've lived for longer than most of you. But we've been hearing this all our life, if we go to church, that Jesus is coming back. Can I tell you, it's quicker now, sooner now, speedily now, more than ever. I look up in the sky often, and it is a distinct possibility that this attack on Israel, God's chosen people, could be the beginning of the end. this big earthquake we had the other day. Many people commented right here on our social media. And by the way, be sure you subscribe to all of our social media. Many people put on here the other day, mentioned in there about the earthquake, and that's biblical, and that's the beginning of the end of time, when Jesus is coming back. And Jesus is coming back to take his chosen people, you and me and all the other people that have Jesus Christ as our personal Lord and Savior, one-way trip to heaven with him. It's when the dead in Christ will rise and be reunited. Their bodies will be reunited with their souls. This could be. We're closer now than ever. We know that. And I've got a lot of favorite stories in the Bible. And one of them came to mind as I was listening to our preacher, Chopper McCartney, preach this morning on this chapter, this last chapter, this last book, this last chapter in the Bible. I thought about Hezekiah. And I thought about Hezekiah when he got sick, King Hezekiah, and the prophet was sent to him to tell him, King Hezekiah, you're not recovering from this illness. You're getting ready to die. Set your affairs in order. Get right with God. Now, if all of us knew that we were about to die, probably everybody just about going to want to be right with God. We want to be right with God. We want to be saved. We want to make sure that we're going to heaven, not to hell. If we knew we were going to die, well, we are going to die. We know, but that's not imminent, maybe. But then again, it might be. So I think about that, and the thing I like about Hezekiah, of course, is the fact that Hezekiah fell on his knees. He said, God, please, give me more time. Give me more time. Remember what I've done to you. Start bragging on how good a person he had been to God. God knew how good a person he'd been. But God gave him 15 more years, and that's what we really like about Hezekiah. But the thing that we really ought to realize about Hezekiah is that God sent a prophet to tell him, make sure you are right with God. God has got preachers in the pulpit every Sunday in every church in America, all over the world, telling people the exact same thing. You need to get right with God. And all I'm saying is, Jesus could be coming back every day, any day now. And the things that's happened, like over there in Israel, we have the capability. All of this stuff about climate change, of course, is simply a money grab, moving money to a certain group of people. Our climate's controlled by God. It's not controlled by politicians or whomever, or no carbon experts or all that kind of stuff. That's all just about money and political power. But one thing we know for certain is that God is coming back. Jesus Christ is coming back. And we know that when it happens, there's going to be a big calamity here on this earth. When God's people will go to heaven, it's called the Rapture, and they're gone. And the ones that are left are simply left behind in the chaos and destruction and the terrible things that's going to happen thereafter. And they're all in this book. You can read about all those things. And it probably explains, as it talks about in here, it probably explains a world that is destroyed by nuclear power. I believe. It may be just God throwing fireballs on the world. I don't know. But we have so many nations right now that has that button like the United States has. You can push that button and start a nuclear war. Putin can do it. Many nations can. China can do it. India can do it. A lot of nations have nuclear power. Iran is just that close. And there's a lot of crazy people out there, a lot of politicians out there all over the world that has that power to start that nuclear war that will perhaps destroy the earth as we know it. Before that happens, Jesus is coming back and taking us out of here. I don't think we have to worry about that. But we don't even know who is running the United States of America. We don't even know the person that actually has the power to push that button. And we've got to the point in this country where most of our politicians are doing things because of politics. And I'm not picking on Republicans or Democrats. We just saw the Republicans do something in the House this week totally because of politics. And it was crazy what they did. It's crazy what they did. So we see it on both parties. We see very few people that are in Washington making the decisions for this country that really have you and me in mind when they make their decisions. They've got politics in mind when they make their decisions. So it's not, if you're a Democrat, now you're blaming the Republicans. If you're a Republican, you blame the Democrat. But can I tell you, there's a bunch of them up there in both parties that feel the exact same way. They really don't care about you and me. All they care about is politics. And if they believe that it will help them politically, whomever's running this country, they might push that button. The maniac, the crazed maniac that destroys the world could be an American. Could be right here in Washington, D.C. It might not be Putin. It might not be somebody in India. It might not be somebody in Pakistan. It might not be somebody in Saudi Arabia or Iran. It might be an American that starts that. I don't know. But here's the deal, and this is the thing that I wanted to just go back to what the prophet told Hezekiah. Get your affairs in order with God. Make sure you're right with God. Because once that trumpet sounds, once Jesus comes descending on earth, and we see him in the heavens, all eyes will see him. Once he comes, if you are a saved, born-again Christian, put your arm up there. Put your hand up there and tell Jesus to take a hold, because you're going straight to heaven. But if you are not right with God, we may very well be living in the end times. My mama always thought when Jesus came back, he would come back on Sunday. My mama's been in heaven for quite a while now, and she doesn't even know when Jesus is coming back. Only God himself knows when he will send Jesus back to this earth. But my mama always worried if she had to miss church for some reason on Sunday. She said, this might be the Sunday that Jesus comes back. Well, today's Sunday. It might be the Sunday that Jesus comes back. So all I'm saying, guys and girls, make sure you're right with God. Those of you that are older, it's a much easier decision because you know that you're closer to death. But can I tell you, it doesn't really matter how old you are. My beautiful wife, Chris, 30 months ago, was walking around perfectly healthy when I left and went to Alabama. She came that close to dying and going to heaven. God spared her because of prayers, actually a lot of prayers by y'all. Hundreds of thousands of prayers by y'all. I was praying really hard myself, constantly. But I heard this morning before I went to church on the Oklahoma City News that there were 3 people killed in a car wreck this morning in Oklahoma City. I don't know where they were going. Might have been going to church, some of them. I don't know. 2 different cars. I think I heard, I'm not positive, but I think I heard that one went through one failed to yield, went through a stop sign or failed to yield or whatever, hit another car. 1 person killed in one car, 2 in the other. I don't know the age or whatever. My preacher did mention this morning that he's doing a memorial service this week for a young person right here in this county. So you don't always get to live your life out until you get old. You can't always wait and say, I've got plenty of time to get right with God. You need to be right with God right now. And can tell you also, when you get right with God, your life is going to get better day by day by day by day. God will create in you a better person. He will create for you a better life. But whatever all of that happens here as we walk through this earth, it's minuscule when you think about eternity. And like the prophet told King Hezekiah, get right with God. You're not going to recover from this illness. Now God relented and gave him 15 more years. But the things that's happening in this world right now, earthquakes that kill thousands, a war started with God's chosen people, Israel, which automatically brought the United States into that war. Another war in Ukraine and Russia, which the United States chose to be in that war, chose to finance that war. I don't know how many wars we will be in, but one day Jesus is going to come riding on that cloud. That trumpet's going to sound. It will be too late to get right with God. In an instant, my beautiful Chris had that stroke and hit the floor, and her life has been changed. Her life was almost taken. In an instant this morning, somewhere up around Oklahoma City, 3 people went to be with God and went to be with the devil for eternity. So all I'm doing is just encouraging this Sunday chat. Get right with God. Get right with God. Because the time that Jesus is coming back could be any day. My mama might have been right. It might be a Sunday. But it could be a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday. But when he comes back, those of us that are ready are going to be so thankful we're ready. Those that are not, it's going to be horrible, awful. Guys and girls, have you a great week out there. Remember, I sure do love you.